Hello and welcome to Gefet in the Daf. I'm Yael Shiboni, bringing to you, together with Hadran and Yeshivat Risha, learning Iyun, a bit of Iyun, through Rashi and Tosfot in your usual learning of Daf Yomi. And today we're going to use Rashi and Tosfot to try to touch a very, very big sugya, discussing the theme, the idea, Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir. What exactly is Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir? How does it work? What is it? The tam, the din, the getter. So this is going to be a little heavy gefet, like the gefet that we had on Ketubot through all the way, because Ketubot really has a lot of toinitan in it. So hold on tight, and we're going to try on one hand to touch this very deep sugya, but on the other hand, mainly to give a look at it, so you can know a basic chiluk that is in Rishonim and Achronim regarding the sugya of Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir. So where do we meet Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir? We meet it in two places. We have the daf that you're learning today, daf kafbet amud aleph. The Mishnah says that a woman who said that she's an eshet ish, but she's a grusha, then she's muteret. Why? Because Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir. She said that she was asur. She said that she was muter, and also a few other explanations of this situation. And what we see here is that there's a ruling that states that if a person claimed that he is asur, then he also has the strength to be matiring himself, as long as there are no edim involved. Which means if there are edim and the story is known from another source and not the person himself or the woman herself, then she does not have this power. But if she's the one who is creating the isur, she's also the one who's creating to be the heter. So where is this from? As the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Asi, minayin lape she'asar hu hape shehetir min haTorah, שנאמר את ביתי נתתי לאיש הזה, לאיש עשרה הזה התירה. So Rabbi Asi assumes that this ruling has to be mideoraita, and that makes sense because we're dealing with deoraita issues, we're dealing with a rice, and he's looking for a source, and he finds the source in a pasuk. But then the Gemara says something very interesting. למה לקרא? סברה היא. הוא עשרה והוא שרי לה. So just let's comment that if you have a svara, you don't need a pasuk. This is what the Gemara says, and actually the Gemara does not agree that the pasuk is the source for the actual din, hape she'asar hu hape shehetir, but we have a different source, a svara. If I'm the one who was ossuring, I'm the one who can be matir. I must say that this svara is not very clear. What does the svara mean exactly? So what does the svara mean is what we'll deal with later. Hold on. We'll have to wait for the Tosfot for that. But just sketching again, we have the statement of Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir. We're asking how strong is it? We understand it's deoraita, not a pasuk, but a svara. Also in Daf Tet Vav and Tet Zayin, we have another Mishnah, and there Rabbi Yoshua says that Hape she'asar hu hape shehetir also works in Dinei Mamon. ומודה רבי יהושע ואומר לחברו שדה זו של אביך הייתה ולקחתיה הימנו שהוא נאמן, שהפה שאסר הוא הפה שהתיר, ואם יש עדים שהיא של אביו והוא אומר לקחתיה הימנו אינו נאמן. So we see that this din of הפה שאסר is not only in a rice, it's also in mamonot. If I come to Rabbanit Chana and I say, you know, the house I'm living in, it was your father, but he sold it to me. So I can still live in the house because I said that it was her father. She didn't know, but still I am living in it because I'm claiming that he was also selling it to me. That's the din here in the Mishnah. Rashi on the Mishnah says a very important thing in a few words, and in order to understand what Rashi said, Tosfot will help us understand. Okay, so here Rashi on Tet Zayin says, שהפה שאסר זה אינו יודע שהייתה של אביו, אלא על פיו של זה, ומה שעשה אחרי התיר. Rashi here said that הפה שאסר means that Rabbanit Chana has to not know anything. And it sounds from Rashi that if Rabbanit Chana did know something, even if she didn't have proof, that would destroy my ability to be doing hape she'asar hu hape shehetir. And that's what Tosfot and Rashi says. There in Daf Tet Zayin, Tosfot says, פירש בקונטרסט, שהוא טוען עד שלא הרסתיך נאנס, ואחא אין שור שחוט לפניך, דין עלה תובעו. ורי מפרש, דאחא נמי איירא בהלה תובעו כדפירשית. So this is the first machloket that we see between Rashi and Tosfot. Rashi thinks that a Pes She'asar is only if the entire story, the entire source of the story, is in the mouth of the person who's claiming. But Ri says, no, even if Rabbanit Chana would come up to me and say, yeah, what are you doing in this house? This was my father's house. And I would ask her, what's your proof? And she wouldn't have proof. I could still respond and say, you're right, it's your father's, but he sold it to me. That's a big machloket between Ri from the Tosfot and Rashi. According to Rashi, if Rabbanit Chana claims that it's her father's land, even if she can't prove, I cannot say, yes, he sold it to me, because I'm not the person who created the story. The story has already been created without me. But according to the Ri, also, if I'm not the source of the actual story, I can still respond saying, yes, you're right, but he sold it to me. So this machloket between Rashi and Tosfot is machloket about how large Hapeh She'asar is. According to Ri, it can be used in many more cases than Rashi. So we see there's a machloket in the getter of the din, but does this also show us that there's a machloket in the tam of the din? So let's begin by understanding Tosfot more, and we'll see that Tosfot has a specific way of understanding Hapeh She'asar, and we will claim later that maybe Rashi has a different way of understanding Hapeh She'asar or Hapeh She'atir. Okay, so let's begin in Tosfot. In our sugya Tosfot Kaf Bet, Tosfot says here, משמע דאין האב נאמן להתיר את ביתו כשעשרה, אלא מחמת מיגו. Tosfot says, הפה שעשה או הפה שהתיר, it's not a single specific situation. It's part of a larger part of Shas called migo. What's migo? Migo is, in Hebrew, is mitoch. In English, it's taken from. Let's just explain the situation. If you have a person in Beit Din and he is accused of something, or somebody claims something against him, and you have two options of answers. You can answer an easier answer or a more problematic answer, and he chooses to answer the problematic answer, even though he had an easier way to escape. Says the Gemara, in many places we believe this person. Why? There's a big machloket about this forward, but the main understanding of migo is it's because if such a person chooses the harder story, that proves that he's telling the truth. If he would want to be a liar, he would have chosen an easier way to lie. So if he is saying a problematic answer, difficult answer, not the easy way out, it means that probably he's more truthful. So Tosfot here says, also, it's the same idea. The person is just more truthful. Why is he more truthful? Because he always has an option, says the Tosfot. He can decide to be silent. Or in a different paraphrase, this migo is migo de'i ba'ishatik. If Rabbi Chana tells me, yeah, what are you doing in my land? And I say nothing, she can't take the land away from me because she doesn't have proof. If I decided to open my mouth, then I'm truthful. Why? Because I could have just gotten away with silence. And this is what the Ri here says, that this migo is migo de ibai shatik. But continues the Ri and says, if this is migo, then Hapeh She'asar has to stand by another rule of migo. Let's read the Ri. ואומר רי, בעניין זה שאינו סותר דבריו הראשונים ולא בא אלא לפרש דבריו האחרונים מהימן, אף על גב דלי קמיגו, וככה דריש מאת ביתי הפה שעשר והפה שהתיר, כגון דקה איש קידש לו קמא, וכאמר את ביתי נתתי לאיש ושעתיק, דמשמע ודאי אינו מכיר שזה חתנו, מדלא אמר את ביתי נתתי לזה או לאיש הזה ביחד ולא הפסק מרובה, כי לכך לא יהיה נאמן אחר כך, אלא תוך כדי דיבור דאיקה מיגו. So, says the Ri, I think that migo is a response to a taina. That's what we saw that the Ri said in Naf Tetzayin. Not like Rashi. I don't need to invent a story. I can also just respond to the story. It's a kind of migo. It's a very strong migo. Migo di'bai shatik. But because it's migo, I have to say the second taina toch kadei dibur. I have to say, yes, the land was your father's, but he sold it to me. What can't I do? I can't say, you're right, it's your father's land, and a week later say, yeah, but he sold it to me. Because that does not mean I'm saying the truth. Maybe I went home and I thought about all kinds of ideas. I came up with this idea to say that he sold it to me. That if I say it after a week or after an hour after I left Beitin, now we have to learn exactly what does it mean. That's a different sugya. But if it's not connected to the original statement, it does not make us believe you more. On the contrary, we might even think that maybe you're trying to be foolish sticking here, like lying. So that's what the Re says. A pesha asal is a migo, and like all other migo, it has to be toch dipu. This is a special migo, migo di baisha. Okay, what does it mean that this is a special migo? In order to understand this, we have to go to Tosfot in Baba Metzia, one of the first Tosfot on the Masechta. And there's a Shita of Ribam that we won't read inside because it involves many hard sugyos, but I'm just showing it to you if you want to look it up already. And I'll just sum up what the Tosfot there in Baba Metzia says, that every other migo, except for migo the Ibai Shatik, we can't use it to take out money from somebody. It can only be good as a way to keep the money with me, like the example that I keep giving. Rabbi Chana asks me, "What are you doing in my land?" I say, "This land it was your father's, but he sold it to me, so I'm leaving the land with me. That's fine." But also says you should know, Yael, that this kind of migo di baishatik, migo apesha asar apesha yitir, can also help you to take money out, to be motzi mamon, and not only to be machzik mamon. So what did we learn up till now? According to Tosfot, first we know that pesha asar can be a response to a claim of someone else, not only to invent a story like Rashi. B, we learned that it's a kind of migo. It's migo di baishatik. C, we learned that it's a strong migo. It's a migo that you can take money out of it. Also, we learned that, like all other migo, it has to be toch kedei dibur. What don't we understand? Why is this migo stronger than all the other migos? If it works in the same way of creating reliability to the statement of my words, why is it stronger than a regular migo? And that's a question that Shucha Mashiv was asked, and he gives an answer. And he says, all the migos are working in the way of umdina. What does that mean? When somebody has two options and he chooses the harder option, it doesn't mean that I'm 100% sure that he's telling the truth. It means that there's more of a chance that he's saying the truth, and I'm assuming that he's saying the truth. And that's why a regular migo is not strong enough to take money out, because it's not a raya, it's just an assumption, it's an umdina. Continues the Shalom Yeshiva and says, but if I had an option to shut up, that makes it a very strong umdina. A stronger umdina can take money out. So from the discussion of the Shalom Moshiv, we see that Tosfot's understanding of a pesha asal makes a lot of sense, but the svara is a little hard, because if we're still in umdina, why is it so strong to be motzi mamun? So the Shalom Moshiv said it's a very strong umdina, but that's a little hard. Let's continue and ask. Rashi, we saw, was cholek on Tosfot and saying that a pesha asar can't be a response. It can only be something that really created the whole story to start with. Does Rashi agree with Tosfot that pesha asar is because migo, or maybe he has a different understanding on how pesha asar works? Do we have other rishonim that are cholking on Tosfot? So let's see. Let's begin by the Rambam. The Rambam seems to be cholek on Tosfot. Why? Because the Rambam quotes our Mishnah, word by word, in Hilchot Gerushin Perek Yud, but he does not say that a pesha asar or a pesha tir has to be toch kedei dibur. Let's read the Rambam. The Rambam says, "Aisha sheba ve'amra shetisha iti busha ani ne'emenet she'apesha asar or pesha tir." What didn't the Rambam say? He didn't say that it has to be toch kedei dibur. The other Rishonim noticed that in the Rambam and actually had problems with the Rambam. The Magid Mishneh quotes the Ramach, and the Ramach said, "Haya lo leRabbeinu lefaresh v'hu shomra toch kedei dibur v'tzarich iyun." The Ramach says, "I don't understand the Rambam. The Rambam is missing a crucial point. It has to be toch kedei dibur." Continues the Magid Mishnah and says, I also saw other Mefarshim that are sure that the Mishnah is talking about Toch Kedei Dibur. We know who these Mefarshim are. That's the Tosfot. Continues the Magid Mishnah and says, if the Tosfot and the Ramach would not say this, I would have thought differently. That according to the Mishnah, Pesha Asar does not call for Toch Kedei Dibur. So maybe there's a different understanding here. Maybe you really don't need Toch Kedei Dibur. Continues the Magid Mishnah and says, I actually found a Rishon, Rabbeinu Yechiel, who said that you don't need to have Toch Kedei Dibur. So the Magid Mishnah here shows that there is a machloket in the getter of the din. Not only machloket Rashi Tosfot about can it be a response, but also the question is this what right? Do we really need to have Toch Kedei Dibur? According to the Magid Mishnah, Rabbeinu Yechiel is cholek, and maybe the Rambam, because he did not mention this din of Toch Kedei Dibur. What the Magid Mishnah did not give us is a savara. If we don't think it's migo, what is it? So what is the svara of the Rambam and Rashi and Rabbeinu Yechiel? Here I'm putting them all together in one basket. So Even Ezel, which is a very famous Acharon of the Rambam, offers a svara, and he says, "Hine matzivu din migo v'din hapesha asar. דין הפשע אסר אינו משום דין מיגו שהוא דין ברור, אלא דין הוא, וכיוון דהוא האוסר, על כן יכול להיות באותה שעה מתיר, כיוון דכל עיקר הדבר אנו יודעים מפיו של זה. Says Even Ezel, מיגו and הפשע אסר are not the same. No, that's what is wrong. הפשע אסר is a totally different story. הפשע אסר is because I'm the inventor of the story, I have strength over the story. I can give you two different variations on this savara. One is that if I created the story, I'm the banim on the story. I can do whatever I want with it. And a different explanation is when Beit Din hears the story, because I'm the source of the story, they can't break up what I'm saying into two different title and just accept X and not Y. Since I'm the source of the story, they have to take the whole thing. Take it or leave it. You can't split it up. So what did we see up till now? We saw a very, very classic chiluk in understanding Pesha Asar or Pesha Etil. According to Tosfot in Ketubot and in Bava Metzia and other places, Pesha Asar is another type of migo. It's a strong migo, it's a super migo, and that's why it can also be motzi mamon, but it has to be toch kedei dibur. But according to Rambam, Sefer Hashlamah, Tosfot in Bava Batra, Rashi, and Rabbeinu Yechiel, no, migo is not a pesha asar. A pesha asar is a different din. It's a totally different category. So, in what way is it different? So, first of all, we saw an afkamina. According to Tosfot, a pesha asar has to be toch kedei dibur. According to the Rambam, a pesha asar can be also after a long time, and that's an afkamina between is it migo or is it a different din? What is the savara? According to Tosfot, it's migo because it works in the same way that migo works, that we believe the person more. He has more credit. But according to the Rambam, and the way Even Ezel explained it and what it sounds like in Rashi, it's more of a technical thing. Since the whole source of the information is me, I also have power in the information and I can reinterpret it, even if I do it after a long period of time. So what did we do today? We used your learning in Daf Yomi to sketch a very important and classic chiluk and diun in the getter of a pesha asar or pesha etil. I hope you enjoyed our Gefet today and continue enjoying this masechet, which is indeed shas katan. Take care, and we'll meet Bezrat Hashem next week.